be awful. I mean, I don't know, what would I say? I got, in the New World Order, when the mothership picks up people that bring skills to the new moon colony that we're starting, I'm not sure I'm going to make the cut. Like, I don't bring a lot to the table.
I'm fucked.
But I'm good at this. If they end up doing conventions on the moon and they need a guy, I think I could cut together a hot 3 minutes to send over as a link and maybe get a shot. You ruined my week. I can't celebrate Christmas. Go ahead.
If you could have a soundtrack for your life, what would the top 5 songs be?
What would be the what? Top 5 songs?
Yes.
Top 5 songs for the soundtrack of my life. One of the songs would be Screenwriter's Blues by Soul Coughing, which is not a song that any of you know. But to me, it's the most accurate song about moving to Los Angeles to get into the entertainment business ever written. Love that song. Band is called Soul Coughing, like coughing. And the song is called Screenwriter's Blues. That would be on there. I would also have Tennessee Stud on there by Johnny Cash. And not because I'm a stud. But I'm one of those dudes that whenever I hear Tennessee mentioned in a song, I go, "Hi!" I feel a strong affinity towards my home state, so anything that had my home state in it, I put in there. I would put Mrs. Vance on it, which is a Loudon Swain song, because I love that song. And I feel like you gotta have a Swain, if I'm telling the soundtrack of my life. I mean, hell, 10 years of it I've been spent standing next to Rob and listening to this band, so they would have to be a part of it. I would put Whipping Post on there, the Allman Brothers song. Because, here's the thing, I'll tell you something. Real advice from me to you. If you ever get the chance to be in the backup band for Jensen Ackles, do it. Because it's for that rare moment where you feel like, oh, we're kind of rock stars. We have a big crowd here screaming their face out. He's kind of a Beatle, I'm kind of the backup guy. This is great. I'm experiencing what it must be like for a split second to be a famous rock and roll singer. So Whipping Post has great fondness for me because of the fact that that's the first song I remember us really playing with Jensen. That was one we stuck with and went to. It's a good bass song too if you're a bass player. So for me, it's a win. How many is that? What did I do? Oh, that's 4. Oh, and I think the 5th one, this is really obtuse. You ask this question any given day, you get 5 different answers. But I think I would either do, I'm gonna do like an either or. I would either do They Call the Wind Mariah by the Kingston Trio from Live with the Hungry Eye, or If I Were a Rich Man from the soundtrack of Fiddler on the Roof, the Zero Mostel, Fiddler on the Roof. And here's why those songs. When I was a young man, my dad would drop my 2 sisters off at school, and then he and I would always have a drive to the next school with me by myself. And we listened to the Kingston Trio. That's what my dad liked to listen to. He listened to AM radio, bluegrass music, the Kingston Trio. So I have great fondness for the Kingston Trio. And when I had my own children, I had forgotten about the Kingston Trio. I went and bought everything Kingston Trio I could find because it reminded me of the relationship I had with my dad. And so I would play Kingston Trio for the boys, and I would literally play guitar. I would sing They Call the Wind Mariah to Steve to, sing him to sleep. All of the boys, a lullaby we'd sing to him, which lyrically doesn't sound, just go with me here, but it's a Kingston Trio song called Scotch and Soda. I know it doesn't sound like a lullaby, but it's a beautiful song. And I sang that to all 3 of the boys because my father-in-law loved that song, and it was Kingston Trio, and my dad had loved Kingston Trio, so it was the perfect thing to sing for the kids. So They Call the Wind Mariah, I used to play for the boys all the time. And Fiddler on the Roof, If I Were a Rich Man, God bless my father, I would make him play that in a loop when he drove me to the bus stop to go to camp one summer. I was infatuated with that song. So we listened to that song in a loop. So I just made your 5 list 6, but there you go. There's the nice 6 songs. Thank you. You.
Mr. Spade, I was wondering if you'd like to extend this panel by like an hour?
No.
Next
You know what,
question.
sir? You're fired. I've never seen you proud of yourself. You know, you sing with Jensen one time. We can't wait to see you next year with with Loud Swain, including drummer to be named. DVD.
If you had to get one of your lines tattooed on your body, which would it be and why?
If I had to get one line of dialogue tattooed on my body,
Yeah, one of your lines.
I don't want to. Why would somebody make me tattoo a line of dialogue on my body? That's a cruel person who would put a gun to your head and say, tattoo a line of dialogue on your body. I don't want tattoos on my body. What's going on with you? Well, since I didn't want anything tattooed on my body, I'd probably find a line in there where Gabriel said, and do that. That way it'd be small and I could hide it. If there was a Gabriel line you want to tattoo on your body, what would it be? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, not so easy, is it? I'm going to go with and. All right, you.
Hi.
Hi.
My question is, out of all your more like iconic performances like Mr. Spot, Changing Channels, or even Casa Erotica, which one was your most favorite to perform?
Favorite, which is my favorite episode to act in?
No, like out of your more like iconic performances like Mr. Spot, Changing Channels, or Casa Erotica, like which was
Changing
more
Channels.
fun?
Changing Channels, I mean, Casa Erotica is not necessarily an episode, it's just a scene, but Changing Channels had some great moments because it had the moments when we got to know that Gabriel was Gabriel, that he wasn't just a trickster and a one-off character, that he was a character of deeper import that was going to have a bigger impact on the boys. So I would go with the work in Changing Channels. Thank you. And one last question, you young lady.
Hello.
Hi.
What's the worst prank Jensen or Jared has played on you?
This is not the last question. They
Take
never
it.
prank me. I know it breaks everybody's heart. They don't, I swear to you, it's a workplace. We just do our job. Crying. Yeah, I know. See, Stephen asked that question at the beginning. I wish that they would light me on fire or something so I'd have an answer, but they haven't. They're too, you know, someday, God willing, they'll hit me with a pie, but it hasn't happened yet. I apologize, but maybe someday, dare to dream. All right, so you're the last question. You, do you have anything? Or are you just working? Oh, yeah, good. There you go.
Can you tell me about the experience that you had with the Hillywood projects?
Oh, yeah, the Hillywood Girls. I'll tell you that, and then we'll wrap it up. Hillywood Girls are incredibly talented young ladies who are filmmakers. They tell, they do these tributes to other shows, and they just do an amazing job. So, you know, we had all gotten involved in the one they did in Vegas for Shake It Off, and so when they came to me wanting to do Stranger Things, I'm like, absolutely, you're incredibly talented, you're great at what you do, plus I'd like to see how you do it. I think that'd be cool. So I went down to Vegas, which is where they had their studio, and then we went to Georgia and shot on a lot of the streets that the Stranger Things was actually shot on, and their attention to detail is stunning. And they do it with a crew of about 6. You know, the quality of that product is absolutely amazing. And when you see them, you see how they do it, and you know how much time and effort it takes to create that level of detail. It was truly amazing. Hannah's a focused director, a great performer. Hilly is a great performer and a great writer, and they craft these ideas together, and they just do a really impressive job. So watching them do what they do was great. I was glad to be a part of it, and I think they're really talented. You know, at first you think, oh, they're doing spoofs, but you watch it, like they're great actors, they're great performers, they're great storytellers, they're really craftsmen. I mean, you got Hilly editing the thing, and they're doing their own visual effects, and they do the whole thing. They're not farming it out to people. They are actually using their skill and drive to do all the dirty work, all the nuts and bolts, and make those videos. They're very talented people. I loved working with them, and I hope to do it again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This has been awesome, everybody. Thank you for indulging me with some questions. I haven't done a solo panel in about 8 years, so this is a treat. Thank you, Jacksonville. This part of the day, when you see Billy Moran come out with that guitar and the boys stand behind me, you know that it's the end of the weekend and it's time for us to sing the song that we sing every week. It's the time to go back to our house. It's time to go back to our house. and Michael Boyle. Thank you so much, everybody. Been an honor and a pleasure, everybody. We'll see you next year.